There's lots of pipelines in something considered a character pipeline because it spans across different disciplines. And generally what a pipeline means is how to get from one location to another location. So in case of a character, the overall character pipeline is how to start from no character to an idea to the final character actually in the game.
Figuring out exactly who we go to at what time, what task has to be done by a certain guy, what's going to block other things from getting done, and in the end, do we get all the content that we need to be able to technically do what we want to do.
The first step is, you have the actors in the studios and they're kind of capturing all their movements, facial expressions, everything, their acting performances to get all the data that we need to provide that information to the character and the skeleton to kind of bring these characters to life once we actually get the game object.
The UK's role within this pipeline is really on the animation front. We've got a gentleman by the name of John Jones who works out in the UK. He corresponds directly with Cubic as well as 3Lateral to receive all that data in.
For example, with Mark Hamill's scan set, we'd run through the 87 poses and it breaks down the face into every minute muscle movement, break down the smile into how it pulls the muscles in every direction, and that enables the guys in Serbia to recreate that movement on the head rig, which means we can pretty much get a one-to-one between the real Mark Hamill and the face rig.
When there's an animation that comes in, he will always review it, and then if there's any changes that he needs to make, he'll make the change, then export that into Engine, and then it's up to myself or Forrest to review it.
Through that data, we kind of build the 3D mesh that's very high and very dense. And then we basically have a basic topology that we use for all of our heads, which is our edge loops, our vert counts, our face sizes. And then we have that, in a way, morph to these high-end 3D scans, and that automatically maps all of your surface area for all your faces to the 3D data.
But then once it's actually in, then that's going to be up to Stephen Bender, the animation director, to make sure that it all looks as it should.
And I work with the animators in developing those motion capture animations so that they work well in the game, they're fluid, they have a good aesthetic value to it. And then I also work with the designers in implementing that as well as the programmers into the final product.
And then all of a sudden you have this head that perfectly matches an actor. Once you have that, we can start actually putting our skeleton on there.
So one of the unique things we do is we use a muscle-based system underneath the skin. So we add a bunch of joints and muscles that deform the skin correctly as if it had real muscles. So game engines can't really handle muscles, but we use some proprietary tricks that make it work in the engine.
Start with the movements, you go to the mesh, and then you go back, grab that movement data, add it to the skeleton, and now as the skeleton moves, you apply all that movement data that we got, or mocap, so to speak, and bring this topology that's now been morphed to the character's head kind of to life. And now you can start seeing them move because we got the skeletons on there and so on. Once we have that, it's time to take this kind of gray head and then actually get it into the game to be able to start applying our diffuse maps, our normal maps, gloss, speculars, subsurface scatters, kind of these maps that are generated from these character faces through a series of photographs with each its own specific purpose.
We're not going for a pre-rendered approach, like lots of games actually pre-render their scenes with very high bitrate, so you don't see that they're pre-rendered, but they're pre-rendered. We want to try to get it in real time, but our facial structure is so complex. It's basically cutting edge. That means we need to really optimize in a clever way so we can actually have, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters on a bridge in highest fidelity talking to each other while the player is present in real time.
As we build the pipeline, the faster it's getting.
You have your animation pipeline, you have your modeling pipeline, you have your conceptual pipeline, we have our facial scan data pipeline, we have our hair pipeline. So there's all these different pipes that kind of build this system that we use to actually get from the very beginning to the very end.